Hi everyone, I just wanted to do a quick review of this book, which is called Revolution. It's a book by the author John Greechan, and it is about Ange Postecoglu, who, in case you're not aware, is currently Tottenham Hotspur manager. I ordered this book from Amazon. I think it was pretty cheap. It was only £4.99 in the paperback, and it's pretty easy to read. The font is kind of large, so that helps. And inside there are some color pictures, which also show Ange and describe his life when he was at South Melbourne and moving on to the national team, Yokohama, I believe, and then Celtic. So I wanted to say that I enjoyed this book, but I didn't. I've gotten about halfway and I actually can't stand the prose. I can't stand the way that this is written. To me, this is written in an anecdotal way, and it doesn't even give you key dates of which, this is when he was born, this is when his family emigrated to Australia, this is when he first started playing football, this is where he bonded with his dad over watching reruns of Match of the Day sent over by videotape. None of that is written in a coherent way that is easy to read, understandable, or enjoyable. Most of what I understand about Ange's previous life until he joined Tottenham Hotspur, there was a very long, detailed interview with Gary Lineker in which he explained all those things. There's a couple of videos from a YouTube channel called Optus Sport, which I believe is also Australian, and that is very good. There's lots of YouTube videos of Ange with his famous argument slash rant interview with Craig Foster, which is also mentioned in this book, which is, you can find it on YouTube and you can just watch it for yourself. It's just hilariously funny. But, all of those things in this book, I believe, are written in a sort of rambling, incoherent way. And it's almost written like it was anecdotes. Some of it I even found a kind of insulting, to me it seemed insulting, cultural stereotype. So it talks about a time where he tried to get the members of the board of one of the clubs to hire him as a coach. So he threw a barbecue for them, which in Australia people throw barbecues. In US people throw barbecues. But the author had to write, I threw a shrimp on the Barbie. That to me seems like it's a cultural stereotype. All Australians like to throw shrimp on the Barbie. It just seems like completely unnecessary. So at the end of the day, I'm going to try and finish this book, but so far I'm really not enjoying it. And it's a good thing I only spent $4.99 on it, because I don't think it was really worth the money. Maybe I could have read it on Kindle and I wouldn't take up space on my bookshelf. One book that I did enjoy, which actually Guillem Balaguer's Brave New World book, talking about Pochettino when he was manager of Spurs. Now, this book was written before Pochettino had got Tottenham to the Champions League and before he had won anything. So a lot of people criticised this book at the time because it was basically a look back on everything that Pochettino had done in his whole life, like his childhood and his beginnings, and a lot of time at Espanyol and so on. But it's mostly about Tottenham. Espanyol and Southampton. But it's mostly about Tottenham. And then it doesn't obviously go into what he did at Paris Saint-Germain, or now he's hired with the US men's national team, because this book was a snapshot in time. But it is written in a different way. It is written in Mauricio Pochettino's voice, like he was sort of narrating a diary. So I'll give you an example. It actually has dates. So each chapter is a date. October of this year, we did this. May of this year, we did that. It has the same thing. It has pictures inside of when he was a young boy, and then as he has moved into being a player. So it's pictures of when he had long hair as a player and things like that. His family, picture with Bielsa, picture with Ronaldinho, stuff like that, which I kind of appreciated. So you've got, and then it's got a second set of pictures of when he's becoming a coach, like at Espanyol, or a coach at Southampton, or a coach at Tottenham. So this is the Southampton days, right? And then moving on to, this is the Tottenham days, because they're wearing Tottenham kit. So I like this book a lot. It's a lot more. For example, at the end, each there's a couple of players that sort of meant something to him in his life. So, for example, there's a short interview with Luke Shaw, who he had a good relationship with at Southampton because he was a very young lad at that time. So Luke Shaw writes, or he narrates, 2 pages about what he thought about Pochettino. Or Jay Rodriguez, another player from Southampton, and he gives him like 1.5 pages. Harry Kane, Harry Winks. It's too bad there is no son in here. Danny Rose, who was one of his teacher's pets at the time when he came to Tottenham. So if I were to balance this book against this book, I pick this book, not just because of the subject matter, but the way it's written. It's easy to read, it's understandable, it's written like it was in his voice. Clearly it's not his voice because the English is far too good. At that time he was just, getting rid of his little translator guy. And some of these things, I think Guillem Balaguer has been speaking English a lot longer. And so Guillem Balaguer knows how to write in English a lot more coherently, whereas this person is a native English speaker, and his prose is actually horrible. So I think it's worthwhile reading. It's not pleasant reading. You can't read it like it was a diary and say, on this day he did this and this day he did that. And it's hard to pull the information out of here. What makes Ange Postecoglu tick? What drives him? What motivates him as a manager? Or, why he was interested as a player? And, like, for example, this passage about Japan. And then it starts talking about people that he's met while he was, coaching in Yokohama, right? And then he sort of like goes all over the place, and it's just sort of rambling, and I don't like it. So on the whole, would I recommend this book? Yes, if you are a Tottenham fan or a Tottenham completist, or you want to find out more about Ange Postecoglu, it's probably a good thing to have, but it's not a pleasant read. And I think you will get more out of the horse's mouth directly if you just looked at the Gary Lineker interview or looked at some of those other Optus Sports interviews that he's done. I think he did, Optus Sport did one where when he joined Celtic. Those are good ones. And other things that you can find on the internet. So anyway, Revolution by John Greechan, or Greechan, how you pronounce his name. And I don't know who this person is. I suppose he's a sports writer, but I don't know what outlet he writes for. It's certainly not The Athletic or anything like that, right? An Edinburgh-based sports writer. Well, I didn't appreciate the sort of cultural stereotype that he wrote, shrimp on the Barbie, and that really turned me off. So anyway, it's Revolution. Check it out on Amazon or any reputable booksellers. Download the Kindle version if you don't want it to take up space on your shelf. See you later.